In this video, we are going to make an HTML form. As a starting point, I have a template file that I duplicated to make into a form, and I can put my form into my main section. So, to make a form, it's as simple as this. You have a new element called form. Make sure to close that one. All right. Now, in a form, we have to have form fields, right? So, let's make an email field to start. And we have another HTML element called input. Let's close it to start. Now, input, though, on its own won't work. It needs to have a type. So, I'm going to fix this too so it looks more like it's supposed to look with a space. I'm going to put type equals, anyone guess this one? Email. Type equals email because I'm making an email form. I'm going to save it, refresh over here, and now I actually already have that's how simple it is to make a form field. But there's a lot more to forms because your form fields have to actually do something, right? So let's add another field here. Let's add another input. And this time I'm going to put type equals submit, so that we can actually submit this email address to something, right? So run, save, run, and now I have a submit button. And I'm going to just do one more type right here. A lot of forms have also a reset button, which is another type of input field. So save. So now you can see I have a submit and I have a reset button. So, okay, so that's a good start on our form, right? So next, let's actually try submitting it and see what happens. Put my email in here, submit, and nothing happens. It just empties out my form. Nothing happens. It does work to actually reset it, erases it, but my submit button's not working. So you have to have, when you have a form, you have to tell your form what the action is for the form when you hit submit. So action equals, and then you also have to tell your form is it going to be a get or a post. And that's a little complicated to explain right now, but for this form we are going to do it as a post. All right, so I actually have a URL I'm going to cut and paste in here. Copy, and this is when you do a form action, you can't do that in HTML or CSS or even in JavaScript. You have to do that in a server-side language, and so I have in this long URL here that is it's a little script I have that can actually process this, right? Save it, run it. So now that I have those two things in place, I can put my email address in, submit, and something should happen. Woo! See? Something happened. You have successfully created a form. It actually can show you your form information if you follow all the rules. But let's try. Let's take this to the next level, okay? Now, there's a lot more we can do with form fields. So first of all, on the email, a lot of times when you do a form, you want to provide people with some guidance of what you want them to enter, and that is called a placeholder. Let's just show it here. Enter your email address. It's a little long. Save it, refresh, and you see it says in this small print inside there, enter your email address. That's called the placeholder text, and all I did to do that was to create a placeholder of enter your email address, and inside the placeholder you actually write human readable text. Something that a human can read, not a computer can read, right? Other important fields. Let's break this up a little bit. Let's do type placeholder. I'm going to do another field that you would usually add into a form would be a name, and that's so that the server knows which field you're talking about. So let's just call it email. That's kind of easy, right? A lot of times you will also I usually give them the same name, but you would also have an ID, and that would be for the JavaScript processing on your form. So let's save this and refresh here. And let me off the hook, start getting in there. So now when I submit, Here is the form information you entered. Check to make sure each field is correct. I only have one field, email, and it is correct. I entered esmatoxin@gmail.com, and there you see my email coming back to you. And that is how we do an HTML form.